Well, hey guys, welcome back to Waters Family Homestead. Well, you see I got the new poultry waterer in. So what I've done is I took all this out from it comes already assembled, or at least most of it. But I took it out and I took this stuff is awesome, y'all. Mega tape. You don't have to wrap the threads as many times as you do with regular Teflon tape. But anyway, I went ahead and wrapped it with the mega tape, and now I'm tightening it back down, and I want to make sure that I give it the best chance possible not to have any leaks once I get this thing hooked up and the water pressure on it. Now that is why I don't use those little bitty nipple waterers that work great for rabbits and chickens and turkeys and all that. I don't use them because they are a low pressure system, and I've got, it hooked to my main water line. So even if you just barely crack the valve open, it'll just spray out, right? People think, oh, that's low pressure. But as it equalizes and this thing fills up and that closes, that pressure is going to equalize inside that line, and you're going to have high pressure on that side and what's coming in, and they just can't take it. So it's made to do like I did when I first started with chickens, is get a barrel, fill it with water, and hook that barrel gravity feed to the waterer, and they work great that way. But that's one more chore for me to have to do, is go out and disassemble that thing and clean it all. And this to me is a lot simpler, a lot easier. And you don't want to use it with baby chicks because they will drown, but if you fill it to the top of the water with gravel or rocks or something so they can't fall down under and drown, and get it to where they can get to it, it works for baby chicks too. You just have to plan for that. So I've already checked the stopper inside where it stops the water from coming through. I'll come over here and I'm gonna show y'all. Right up in here, as the plunger, let me get where I can see. As the plunger rises, it pushes this rubber stopper up against the hole where the water's coming, and it stops it from letting water in. And it works with regular water pressure. I've got my well, I think, set about 60 psi, so it doesn't have to move a whole lot, and you can adjust the float up or down to get more water in it or less water. So I want it about halfway because I don't have babies getting water out of this one. But the next step would be to take the adapter. Actually, probably should have left that nut off. Nope, that's it. And screw it on to where I put the mega tape on those threads. And now I want to screw this in. Your water hose fits on this adapter. So I don't want to have any leak issues here. And it comes with the hose, which I'll show y'all in just a second. If you look, you can see it laying on the tailgate. But I don't think I'm going to have a leak issue. I do see they put a cardboard type washer here that they didn't have in before when I bought them. So I think they've realized that was a weak point for leaks, and they addressed it. But this hose, most people don't thread tape their water hose, but I've had that leak right there many times. So I'm going to take some more of this mega tape and wrap a couple of rounds on it. And it's folding up on me. It don't normally do that really, but so I'm going to wrap 2 or 3 rounds on here. Not a whole lot because I got another roll, but that's actually enough thread tape for what I'm doing. I just don't want it to leak. So now I've got it taped. I'm going to screw it into the poultry water, or what I call chicken waterer, but it works with whatever kind of poultry. So I've got that in there. And that's what actually corroded and broke off on my old one. And it's almost 10 years old, guys, so I can't complain that it didn't hold up you know, almost 10 years before it wore through that brass or cheap metal fitting. I've got that pretty tight, and the float looks like it's almost perfectly straight up and down. There we go. So that should be fairly easy. I'll take this out there and go connect it, and I'll show y'all that when I get down there. Well, I haven't been out here since I got home from work, so you see they're all up here waiting on me. I don't know why I never throw them. The only thing they get up at that end is scraps, and I don't do that a lot because it's just me. But they all seem to be doing well today. There's a turkey egg down there. See, that's why I don't want the ground wet. You know, now I've got to wash that egg and refrigerate it. And the Wyandottes and the Blue Orpingtons, and there's another turkey egg in there that's got poop on it, but there's 5 others from the Wyandottes and the Blue Orpingtons. That one's still leaking, so I gotta fix that today. And I see at least 4 or 5 over here, which is not quite full. So I gotta address that leak today. But let me get this one changed. They've still got water. All right, we'll flip this around. See if I can get it. All right, I'm gonna flip it around and show y'all what it looks like while it's. So, I'm sure you can hear it. This tripod's kind of getting in my way, but see it squirting out, and as it gets water in it, that float lifts, and you see the water stopping. So the water's left on. Now, I've learned never turn it on more than about 1/4 or 1/8 at the faucet right here, because if they knock this over, and that's why I have that T-post in there so they can't slide it out of here. If they knock this over, then your water's just going to run constantly, because it's just dumping it out and the float never rises. I've had that happen a couple times and flooded both pens for a big area of it. So now I don't turn the water on that wide, you know, that high. So I want it on just enough to where it fills it really well. So maybe pour it out here. Let's try that one more 10. All right, see how it's barely coming out? See, I could turn it up, but I want it down like this. I don't need it wide open, because if it gets knocked over or whatever, I don't have to worry about my I mean, it's still going to flood the, you know, this corner of the pen, but it'd take a whole day or majority of a day, not a few hours. So, anywho, that's what it looks like when you're done. And, you know, I didn't have a problem with the pipes freezing with these cold temps we had. Their water did freeze, but, you know, I'm in southwest Georgia, so by lunchtime, it thawed out enough they got water. I didn't even have to come out and do anything but the one day that it quit working. So I'm going to leave that alone, and I'm going to take this one and dump it, because I'm not throwing it away. I can still, you know, get a better hose than that cheap one I used temporary, and get this set up again if I needed it somewhere. I've still got the metal cover for it. That it comes with a metal cover that covers the float and all, so they can't mess with it. Especially dogs and goats and pigs and stuff will chew it up. So it's not recommended for anything that will chew up stuff to use these plastic ones, but they work great for poultry. So it's still got a little bit of water coming out, but I don't see any water dripping from my faucet connection right here, or the connections out here, or coming down the side of the tub. So it all looks pretty dry. And as long as it's not leaking, you know, I want it, the more water gets in that bowl, the more pressure that float's going to push on that plunger to stop the water. So right now it's slowly trickling in. You can see the waves in the water. But I'm hoping it stops completely when it gets about another 1/2 inch up, which is about 2/3 of the way. So I think this is a 4 or 5 quart waterer. So, you know, holds, or 1.5 gallons, something like that. That'd be 6 quarts. So, but the more pressure that float puts on that little rubber stopper, the more it will hold back that water. And, you know, I'm going to see. I don't want it to run over. This one, it's got a crack right up here at the top edge a little bit, and it feels fuller, always has, than what I wanted it to do. So I'm going to pause this. I'm going to go around and get that other waterer handled on the last pin. Alright, so you see I'm set up for this faucet back here. And this doesn't turn into a muddy mess, which is what I expected. So I'm going to try to take all this loose and see if I can stop the water from leaking. This is a water hose that I use for a sprinkler for the fruit trees during the summer. I'm trying not to wear that vest, y'all. I don't know if you can hear the turkey and the truck riding by, but one, two, three, four, five. There's 6 in here, so they're slacking today a little bit. But the waterer is fine on the level of the water, but it's leaking out there. It's not leaking in here. So I need to take this Y splitter and find out why it was leaking. I'm gonna tear this little bit of foam off. So I'm gonna put it up here up under some wire just so it won't get lost. So it'll stay there until I decide to insulate that faucet again. So let's find out. It's leaking where the Y coupling screws onto the faucet. So I'm going to try to tighten it and maybe it'll stop. If not, I'll have to take it off. So see how it's just barely coming out right there? That's how much I want it going to the waterer itself. So if something happens and it gets stuck on, it doesn't flood this whole area before I get home from work. But looks like that one just needed tightening, which made it an easy fix. And now this water will soak in and it'll clean up. I'll flip this around. So all this water will soak in the grounds and the chickens are scratching and playing it like they normally do. Guys, it's, I don't know, it feels like 60 something out here today. I haven't even looked. It's been a nice, comfortable day other than a little bit of drizzling rain we got. But Sue's doing well. Looks like his tail feathers are coming back in. So all the Rhode Island Reds and the barnyard mix. There's two barnyard mix and and 7 Rhode Island Reds in here. So anyway, this little brown and white one is a barnyard mix, and this one with the black tail over here is a barnyard mix. So these two right here. All the rest of them are Rhode Island Reds. And you notice none of them have black in their tail. So that's Sue doing his job. So this was Junior and Sue's daddy's offsprings that I hatched. So anyway, I'm fixing to get some scratch feed out and give them some scratch feed. Then I got to go back up to the house, show y'all how this works. Remember, there's a bent nail down there and a bent nail up here. And I just, do like that. Hooks on the bottom, hooks on the top. And I don't have to put up anything other than that wire. It keeps chickens separate. Now, the turkeys went across it a couple times, but normally they don't. You see where this water's been running. They've been in here scratching because of the water. But they don't try to go from one side to the other. Chickens can fly if they want to, but anyway, don't remember if I showed y'all the eggs a little while ago. I know the one turkey egg down there. Yes, I did. So the feeder's still 90% full. So all I got to do is get the mud off my boots and go inside and get the basket that I collect eggs with. And you see how still the water is? It stopped adding water. I can live with that all day long, y'all. It will not overflow and cause a mess. Once all this dries up, it'll stay dry. So, yeah, it was $49. Quite a bit more expensive than it was when I first started using these things 8 or 10 years ago. But I know I'm getting 8 or 10 years out of them. And now that I know how to take better care of them by thread taping it all and, that stuff, I'm hoping these things will last longer than that. Old Tom over there. Look how red his fat is, whatever that stuff is, his beard. Not his beard is a feather, but he hadn't got it yet. He's still only a year old, but his head's blue and he's bright red down at the bottom. Let's see if it'll zoom in enough to where y'all could see that. See that? How blue he is and how dark red he is at the bottom. Still looks darker in person, but he'll drag them wingtips and he makes that thumping noise. And of course he, oh, want to be show off and not do it, huh? There you go. So these waterers, look like I dropped the washer. I did. Come with a little saucer lid with a magnetic stem that sticks to that metal brace in the middle. And that keeps your birds and things from climbing on top of it and pooping in the water, because it's magnetic and it'll flop over sideways when they try to get on top of it, and then they get off, So I just don't use them because they knock it off way more often than you would think they do, and they just are a pain in the butt. So I don't use them. I just leave mine open. Of course, the water gets dirty faster, especially that one because it's on the ground. This one's up on the 2x6s that are, the framing separating these two pins. So it's not near as bad. They don't scratch and get dirt and stuff in it. They typically don't jump up there and climb on it. They just drink water. So this one works a lot better. I'm going to get that one up off the ground eventually also, but for now, it's doing its job. So guys, I told you I'd record when I did what I did, once it came in. And tell you what, they are wearing this yard out with no grass hardly on it. And there is grass, it's just mostly brown. So we'll get here and throw them some scratching. That's about 1.5 cups. See that? I get about 1 cup for the tin on this side. So guys, I appreciate you watching the video. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. All you new subscribers, it really means a lot. I appreciate y'all. Remember what I always tell you. It's more important than anything else, no matter who you're talking to. Jesus Christ loves you. Y'all be safe. Be prepared.